sure many of you are familiar with many of those text messages that just came across the screen. And I think I can make a generalized statement that most of us use text messaging as a form of communication these days. And I'm not sure how many of you text and drive, but I would be willing to bet that it's more of you than less of you. And my hope is that after today, I can convince you to at least stop altogether, or maybe think twice the next time you think about texting and driving. Most text messages sent and received are non-urgent messages. So why waste your life or the life of a loved one over something so non-urgent as laugh out loud? If I can change your mind, I may be able to save your life or the life of someone else. I do it, I can't believe I'm admitting it, but I text and drive. I seem to convince myself that if I do it at a stoplight, it's not really texting and driving, but it's something that is still distracting me from my focus of getting from point A to point B safely. I thank goodness that I have not personally yet been affected, lawfully, personally, financially. However, I have had a few friends who have been in accidents who just looked down for a second, and that second is all that it takes. Today, I will share with you reasons you should not be texting and driving, the personal stories of those affected, and the law, as well as the statistics will hopefully convince you texting and driving is just not good. So first, I'd like to share a few personal stories from a website called distraction.gov of those who have lost loved ones due to texting and driving. Distracted driving endangers lives and property, and the current level of injury and loss are just unacceptable. So first, I will share with you the story of a 16-year-old girl named Ashley. She was killed when her vehicle lost control. She crossed over the center line and hit a pickup truck head-on. Although her father had warned her many times against cell phone use behind the wheel, it was found that she was texting at the time of the crash. Imagine if Ashley had had a passenger in her vehicle at the time of the crash. It could have possibly lost 2 lives instead of just 1. Another story. On July 25th, 2009, a 19-year-old named Eric was killed when his bike was struck by a driver going approximately 60 miles an hour. Cell phone records indicated that the driver was texting prior to the collision. If these heartbreaking stories aren't convincing enough for you, maybe convincing you that texting and driving is unlawful will maybe make you stop. Texting and driving in some states is simply just against the law. In fact, a law just took place in Virginia, and soon you could be fined and or prosecuted for texting and driving. According to IIHS.com, 41 states have placed an all drivers ban on texting and driving. 6 states have a partial ban, and only 3 states have no ban on texting and driving. The ban just passed in Virginia reads as follows. It is unlawful for any person to operate a moving motor vehicle on the highways in the Commonwealth while using any handheld personal communications device. To 1, manually enter multiple letters or text in the device as a means of communication with another person. Or 2, read any email or text message transmitted to the device or stored within the device. So, texting and driving is against the law. Maybe you're not convinced yet still. Maybe the following statistics that I will read off to you will finally convince you that it's just not worth it. Texting and driving is the most dangerous thing a person can do behind the wheel. It is found to be the most dangerous because it is the most distracting. There's a website called StopWrecks.org that lays out 30 convincing statistical arguments as why it is so dangerous. I just want to go over about 5 of them with you. 5 seconds is the average time your eyes are off the road while texting. While traveling at 55 miles per hour, that's the length of a football field. A texting driver is 23 times more likely to get into an accident than a non-texting driver. Of those killed in distracted driving related crashes, 995 involved reports of a cell phone use as distraction. There was a study done over 18 months with just college students that were using a sophisticated driving simulator that showed 8 times greater crash risk when texting than when not texting. Using a cell phone while driving, whether it's handheld or hands-free, delays a driver's reaction as much as having a blood alcohol content of 0.08. So hopefully, either the personal stories, the law, or the fact that there's statistical analysis that proves this is not something that you should be doing have convinced you that texting and driving is plain distracting and it shouldn't be done. If you text and drive, you know it's distracting. You can tell me or anyone that you like that you're perfectly fine while texting and driving, but take a second to be honest with yourself. You can surely remember a time when you had a near miss just by looking at or sending a text. So I ask you again, are the text messages shown in the first couple of slides worth your life, the life of someone you love, you don't know, or breaking the law? I don't think so.